Hello everyone, what is happening? I'm your host Ayman Hassan and welcome back to another video here at Most Amazing Top 10. I think through time, no matter what period it was, there was always an image of what the perfect man or the perfect woman looked like. Whether that meant brown hair or an upturned nose or bulging muscles or being a size 00. Celebrity culture is so strong in our generation, I feel like it's forced down our throats whether we like it or not. And I just like to preface this by saying I have nothing against anyone that wants plastic surgery or has had plastic surgery. Everyone is completely free to do what they want with their bodies. I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, I'd probably get a nose job low-key, so there you go. But anyway, before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe to Top 10 and Top 10 Hindi videos for all the Top 10 content your heart could ever desire. But without further ado, this is the Top 10 teenagers who turned themselves into plastic. Starting us off with number 10 is Sahar Thabir. Dubbed as the Iranian Angelina Jolie lookalike, 19-year-old Sahar went viral on Instagram in 2017 for her very bizarre looking post. And I admit I saw pictures of her as well when this was going on and I legitimately couldn't believe my eyes. Sahar claimed to have undertaken over 50 surgeries in order to mimic and look like her idol Angelina Jolie. And I know people getting plastic surgery to look like celebrities is actually quite common, but this case was absolutely ghostly. People started saying she looked like a zombie and they couldn't quite understand how her surgeries were able to change her face to that much of a degree. Surgery aside, Sahar also said she'd been dieting in order to look like Jolie as well and was proud to be at 40 kilograms, which is actually critically unhealthy for her height and age. However, some people didn't quite believe her pictures and claimed she had clearly photoshopped them. And later that year, they turned out to be right. Coming in at number 9, we have Kelso Santabanes. Originally from Brazil, 20-year-old Kelso started his transformation into becoming a Ken doll at the tender age of 16. He won a modeling contest at 16 and he shot to fame charging nearly £10,000 for any VIP appearances. Growing up, he was a big doll enthusiast and claimed his parents had always told him he looked like a doll, and that's what inspired him to become a human puppet. He had 4 operations on his nose, jaw and chin and also got silicone implants in his chest to mimic Barbie's boyfriend Ken. Sadly, Kelso passed away in 2015, but while he was alive, he strove to make sure everything he wore, said and did was exactly Ken-like. I didn't actually know there were 2 human Ken dolls. I've only ever heard about Justin Jedlicka, who will make an appearance later on in the list, but I'm actually finding out there's a lot of Ken dolls. At number 8 is Chloe Khan, or if you've ever watched British X Factor, you may know her as Chloe Mafia. Chloe is a British model who successfully auditioned for X Factor back in 2010 at the age of 18. She got kicked out of the boot camp stage after showing up smelling like vodka and admitting she'd spent the previous night partying away. After her small shoot to fame, Chloe, who is now a TV personality, YouTuber and Instagram influencer, underwent a series of surgeries. She had a Brazilian butt lift, lip enhancements, a breast augmentation and a series of nose jobs. After a second nose job which she had done in Ukraine by a surgeon she found on Instagram, Chloe was left unable to smell or properly breathe and actually collapsed on her kitchen floor for 2 days when she returned home. I'm not saying Instagram is bad to find surgeons, but it's probably not the best place. She even wrote a goodbye note to her daughter on her phone because she claimed she thought she was gonna die. Filling our number 7 slot, we have Kelly Johnson. Now, Kelly is a model, and so I don't even have to state the obvious. The modeling industry is probably the harshest industry ever when it comes to appearance and weight especially. Fact. Kelly had been modeling since she was 10 years old, basically a seasoned pro, when at the age of 16 a photographer told her she would never make it in the industry unless she got a nose job. First of all, who even has the right to say that to anyone? I feel like that's just so rude. Sadly, Kelly ended up taking his advice and wound up with a pretty botched rhinoplasty. What the surgeon claimed was just a bit of swelling was in fact a piece of cartilage sticking out of her nose. Kelly was mortified as anyone would be. A year later, the same surgeon offered to fix it free of cost, but this time it was even worse. But also no, Kelly, you can't go to the same man who created your problem in order to fix your problem. That was never gonna end well. After the second surgery, her nose started leaning very much to the left. With little to no hope, she left her modeling career altogether, and all because of that damn photographer's comment. Watch what you say, people. Now at at number 6 is Mauricio Goldi, another Kendall. I thought there was only one, heck then I thought there were only 2, but now this is the 3rd one I'm hearing about, and there are probably a lot more where that came from. Now this guy claims he's the original Brazilian Kendall before Kelso was even in the picture. But Mauricio claims he's only had 15 surgeries in his lifetime thus far, and those include 4 rhinoplasties, liposuction, and finally arm and chest implants. But the craziest part of the story is that in 2016, against the advice of his surgeons and doctors claiming it would be too dangerous and risky, Mauricio removed 2 of his ribs in his desperate pursuit to achieve his Ken-like stature. I think this is the 2nd time in my life I've heard of someone removing their ribs. I think the first time was the singer Marilyn Manson when I was like 13 years old and I was heavily spooked. But that actually turned out to be a hoax and he didn't remove his ribs at all. Marilyn Manson, not Mauricio. Coming in at number 5 is Farrah Abraham, who you may know from 16 and Pregnant and Teen Mom. Back in January of 2015, Farrah had a lip procedure in order to change her lips and make them look fuller, but it didn't exactly go to plan. After injecting her with a numbing product which she wasn't aware she was allergic to, Farrah's lip tripled in size and she posted a picture of it on Twitter, captioning it, "Girlfriends, don't say I didn't warn ya, #botched." Despite her bad experience, she still found some humor in it and says she still wants to get her butt done. Well, I mean, kudos to her for going back for more. At number 4 is Valeria Lukyanova, also known as the human Barbie doll. Not Ken this time, but Barbie herself. Most of you will probably have seen her pictures online. Valeria is a Ukrainian model and an out-of-body travel instructor at the School of Out-of-Body Travel, and no, I didn't just make that up. Valeria looks more like Barbie than anyone I've ever seen in my life, and she uses contact lenses and makeup to enhance that Barbie look, and despite a lot of backlash and speculation, she claims she only had surgery on her boobs. People have theorized she removed a few of her ribs in order to get her extra slim waist, but Valeria has said she achieved the look from gymming and a strict diet. Her goal is to be part of Breatharianism, a cult that believes food and water is not necessary for survival, and living via sunlight instead. Personally, I do think she's had some more surgery done other than a breast augmentation because her proportions are uncanny, but I could be totally wrong. I mean, what do you guys think? Filling our number 3 slot is Dr. Kitty. Now this one is a bit different because instead of being a teen who underwent plastic surgery, Dr. Kitty was a teenager who was performing plastic surgery on other teenagers. Yikes. Jing Yi Wang, a 19-year-old girl who had no formal training whatsoever other than a high school diploma, started advertising her services through flyers she put up around Toronto. A customer went to her for face slimming injections which Dr. Kitty performed in her basement, and then the customer came back a few weeks later for maintenance injections but soon contracted an infection which he had to seek medical help for. Also, side note, but how did Dr. Kitty even get her hands on Botox injections, which are what are usually used for these kind of procedures? I mean, I have questions. It's not easily just found in any drugstore. But anyway, she was arrested in 2017 and that was the end of her illegal practice. Now at number 2 is Justin Jedlicka. Now aside from Kelso, I think everyone has seen pictures of Justin Jedlicka, our first ever human Kendall, whether they knew his name or not. During his teens, Justin said his procedures were initially inspired by watching lifestyles of the rich and famous and seeing cosmetic surgery and body contouring as a true symbol of what it means to lead a glamorous, rich lifestyle. I mean, I feel like there are a couple more things than that, but sure. Despite his parents' protests, he got his first rhinoplasty days after his 18th birthday. Altogether, Justin has undertaken more than 300 cosmetic procedures in his life, and around 90 to 100 of them cost him $100,000 alone. His procedures include chest, shoulder, calf, thigh, tricep, bicep, and subpectoral implants, rhinoplasty, lip and cheek augmentations, gluteoplasty, and brow shaving. Wow, that was a mouthful. It's interesting that so many people aspire to look like the Barbie and Ken dolls because I remember growing up also thinking Barbie was what a pretty girl looked like. Blonde with blue eyes, and I was like, there's no Barbie that looks anything remotely like me. So if you have ever thought that or think that currently, don't worry because you're not alone and you're probably a lot prettier than Barbie anyway. Beauty can be anything. And that's why I should be Miss Universe 2019. And finally, at number 1 is Rodrigo Alves, another human Ken doll. Kendall. I feel like there are a lot more Kendalls that I don't know of, and we could probably have a top 10 list of human Kendalls alone. But anyway, Rodrigo underwent his first surgery at 17. Now, due to a hormone dysfunction, his breasts started growing at the same rate as his female peers, and so at 17 he got his unwanted breasts removed. This surgery, which cost him $3,500, would then be the start of the next 18 years of his surgery addiction. So far, he's had 57 procedures, which he spent a total of $883,000 on. In 2016, after his 6th nose job, he caught an infection which made him unable to breathe and caused a hole to actually appear in his nose as it started rotting away. He underwent many more nose jobs in order to fix that. I think he's on number 10 at this point. And then during another dangerous procedure where a doctor injected gel into his arms to make them look more muscular, Rodrigo was left paralyzed in both arms after catching a bacterial infection. They were nearly going to amputate his arms until a month later when he finally regained feeling. He even removed 4 of his ribs in order to gain a more feminine waist. And that's all for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below about which transformation surprised you the most, and also tell me if you yourself have ever considered getting plastic surgery, and if so, what would you change? I feel like my biggest fear with plastic surgery is like, what if you wake up and you realize I actually looked better before and now you can't change it? I mean, you can if you do another surgery, but still. As always, guys, I'm your host Eamon Hassan, and I'll see you next time. Bye!